Okay.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second day of Transforming AI Hackathon. And now I'm happy to invite to the stage Rok Zaloznik, who will be our speaker for today. And he has amazing inspirational speech about his view on the future and the potential of AI. So I'm inviting Rok here. Rok, how are you? Hello.
Hello. Hey, nice to be here. Thanks for inviting me, and yeah, good cooperation with our association and New Native.
Yes, VCA Association and co-founder of which is Rock, is our partners for this hackathon. So I hope Rock will start a little bit more about the association itself, like about what are you doing there, what's your main mission, and then you will have your amazing speech. So I'm leaving you here, and yeah, just have amazing talk. And hope everybody will enjoy. And if we have some questions in chat, I will read to you after the speech. Please, Rock, stage is yours.
Thank you. So yeah, welcome everybody to the hackathon. So maybe a few words about Swiss AI Association. So as the name applies, we are based in Switzerland, but it's so what we try to do is connect all stakeholders in AI field in Switzerland, in Europe, in US. So we have members from everywhere, and we're basically doing two things. One is building building the knowledge and communication and facilitating exchange of information between various AI organizations, big, small, individuals, students, and industry. And of course, today I'm going to present one very interesting project that we're working on, and I hope that it will be interesting for you as well. So yeah, I will just start with what we're doing. So today, most of you are building solutions with AI, so with transformers, with other technologies, Keras, PyTorch, whatever. What we want to do is also to help like people like you, developers, small organizations, big organizations, to bring maybe some structure into how these applications are deployed, or when they are deployed, that they can be trusted. So one of the big topics, especially in, for instance, European Commission or legislators, when they talk about AI, it's okay, we like AI, but we don't trust it, we don't know it. And so how do we build trustworthy and responsible and ethical AI solutions? So here we have a couple of initiatives, yeah, I would like to talk about quickly. Let me go to the next slide, please. Yes. So yeah, when we talk about what is responsible AI and what is the goal, that we just don't maybe produce fancy outputs or crazy images or interesting predictions, but how do we know that these things that we develop, that that first they are correct, and secondly that they are, for instance, explainable? So can we explain how a certain AI algorithm came to a conclusion, or can we trust it, or is it secure, is it reproducible, so can we do it again? So we are connected a lot with industry in Switzerland, especially, of course, pharma and finance. And these are the questions that when companies deploy AI solutions, they want to know, can we explain how some prediction was made, can we trust the image if you scan your lungs, or can we trust that certain predictions about stock market is correct, and so on? Or how did we reach the conclusion, right? So these are all the things that are another level when you start building more serious AI applications that everybody needs to start looking into. So one of the things we're looking into is to build a certification for AI applications. So what we want to do is to look at an application and say, okay, an application is working according to a certain criteria that we have defined. And we're doing this in two ways. So we set let's say a lot of specific rules from our side, but we also want to involve community into building these rules. So how do we say that a certain application is correct, yeah, or trustworthy? And we want to develop a certification program, which you can also check later, and help support organizations as they deploy and scale AI systems. Yeah. And we go to the next one. So the whole process should be pretty simple. So each, let's say, developer team or each organizations that wants to say, okay, our applications has been checked, can get a certain certification logo, starts with a self-assessment questionnaire. This means you get a certain set of questions which you answer about your application. For instance, how do you use your data? How can you explain your model? Is your team working according to a special process? Do you have the testing of AI applications and so on? And then, of course, according to the size of your application, we would say, okay, you can get maybe a personal certification or silver or gold or a platinum certification, which, for instance, would also mean that there is a third-party audit firm that would look deeply into what the application is doing. Next one, please. So we just use the standard methodologies for assessing these applications. There is this CMMI, so maturity model of application. We say, okay, how mature is it? We don't say there is 1 or 0. Of course, there is a grace in between. And we can say, yeah, we have a defined process or somewhere, or non-defined process or somewhere in between. Yeah. And that's why we also, as I mentioned, define various certification levels, which can be for smaller applications, of course, just test basic things. Are you doing these things correctly? Is the data non-biased? Is the model explainable? Is the process repeatable? Do you have a CI/CD pipeline? Can you test it? Can you repeat it? And so on. And the further you go with the certification level, of course, more points you need or more strict is the process. Yeah. So we defined basically 5 certification topics, which I don't know why we don't see. Maybe on the next one. Can we check the next slide? I mean, it doesn't matter. So didn't get through. Okay, yeah, never mind. I'll just move to the previous one. I'll explain it. So we're basically setting 5 certification topics. First certification topics is data. So how do you handle data? Is it biased? Is it non-biased? Is it ethically procured? Did you just get it from internet? Can you, because as we know, data is like the most important thing in training a model. So there are certain checks about the data itself. Then, of course, the model itself is quite important. So is it, are you just using machine learning? Are you using deep learning? Are you using a transformer model, which maybe you can't even explain completely? And of course, there are now certain techniques when you say, okay, these and this variable, for instance, contributes mostly to the explainability of the whole system. Yeah. And this from like a client perspective is one of the most important topic. The third pillar, as we call it, is the process itself. So do you have like testing? Do you have unit testing? Do you have automated testing of the process? Do you have a human in the loop? This means, or is it at least looked into? So, for instance, if your model gives out a solution, so is there a human at the end who checks this, or it just goes in production like this? And then there are two more pillars. One is governance. So how do you look into the security topics? How does your team work? Do you have certain security checks? Do you have somebody who is overseeing the process and so on? And there is the fifth pillar, which is ethics. So ethical AI is also one of the really big topics now. So can we use these AI solutions in an ethical way? This means for a good purpose, not to be used against for some malicious topics and so on. So this is one thing that everybody's looking into, especially big customers, especially legislators and so on. Yeah. So what we're doing now, as I said, we are preparing in cooperation with New Native as well. One thing we call a certification hackathon. So this hackathon is going to happen at the end of November, so approximately in 1 month. And the goal of this hackathon is in the next slide. So the goal of this hackathon would be to invite you, the community, the developers, everybody who is involved in AI, to exactly help us define, these topics under these pillars that I talked about. So define, prepare, and specify these topics. This would then go into this self-assessment. So, and then use the crowdsourcing knowledge of AI community to say, okay, this is what we think the certification should look like, right? Because there is one way to do it, and then it's like, okay, so European community, some not very smart people in European community will tell us what we do, and we should follow it. But there is the other way, and this is what we want to do. So bring the knowledge of the community to it and say, okay, we build this certification together. And then this will make more sense because it's for more experience and so on, right? And yeah, there is an example how for instance, one of these questions in this maturity assessment would look like, okay, so what safeguards does your AI system have? And then, of course, like from the application standpoint, you would say, okay, we have preventive measures, we have adversarial testing, we have, rigorous threat model and so on. Or if you don't have any of these safeguards, and then, of course, you would get certain points. And if you have enough points, you would get to a certain level of certification that I presented before. And what we want from the community and what we want from the hackathon that we're planning is help us build questions like this. So what do you think are the questions that should be asked, or what are the things that should be checked within an AI system that we get, the thing that really makes sense also from the community standpoint of view. So what are the next steps? I think the dates for these are maybe already published on the New Native page. You can also check our page from it. So it's called certifyai.net. You can also check the progress of what we're doing. And you can also already say, okay, I have a small solution or I have a big solution and I want to get it certified. You can apply for that as well. And if you have any questions, there is my email. There is a general email of our association. You can write us, and we would be really happy to work with the community on this project. So yeah, that's basically it. If there are any questions, you can.
Thank you,
ask.
Rock. Yeah, I have a question. I have a question about, do you think it would be necessary to every single AI product to have like just a simple certification? So to make sure it's like ethic, it doesn't like, yeah, so that it's okay to use for people. Do you think it's necessary?
Yeah, I think it's very necessary, and from 2 points. One, because people then who use it will have some trust into it, right? I mean, there is no 100% trust. And secondly, I see it also as a tool to help the AI developers. They say, okay, did we look really into everything that our solution needs to do, right? Or needs to comply with, right? So it's also a tool for the developers to say, this is what we still need to do, or we need to test maybe more, or we need to assure that our data is secure and so on.
Okay, thank you. That's basically what I was interested. Like, doesn't important for product owners, for example, to think about the certification while they are just like thinking about the product.
Yeah, yeah. I
Okay,
mean, at the same time, yeah. Mhm.
okay. Thank you for your speech. I guess probably we have one more question.
Mhm.
What are some measures that we can take to protect our AI models from from being hacked?
Okay. So how do you prevent models from being hacked? Yes, I mean, there are many things you can look into. First is, of course, how and where you deploy your model. This is the first thing. So, is it cloud-based? Is it just based on some, maybe a developer cloud, which is probably less secure? Is it hosted on some internal servers? These are the first things. And of course, I mean, how do you publish it? Is it like maybe an API that you just is it a REST API that you put out, or do you just expose the whole solution? So there are various things, and exactly these things are being addressed into in the certification that we're talking about, right? So how do you host your model? How do you ensure that it's secure and so on? Yeah. Of course, we would give some guidance as well. Yeah. But then, yeah, you would have to look into it, and that's of course a good question. Yeah. How do you assure it can't be hacked? Yeah.
Okay. Okay, and also last question probably from me. If guys you have questions, just feel free to write in the chat and I will read it on the stream. How do you plan to promote this certification, like through owners, through startups who wants to build a project with AI? Like, is it there is either the way to make it like necessary, so you can't launch the product, for example, if you don't have the certification? Do you have this plan of promotion?
Yes. So, I mean, basically, the requirements from European Union is that all applications who use AI will have to have some stamp.
Mhm.
There is nothing yet. We want to be first on the market in Europe, at least, who do it. And we think it's a good idea to bring the community into it. Yeah. Uh, so what we do is, yeah, we try to promote it with events like this. We cooperate with a lot of Swiss and European organizations who do it, and yeah, of course, we want to push it through the community. So already now we are involving a lot of like Swiss-based AI startups into it, and of course we want to expand it. Yeah. It's not just Swiss certification, it should be a general one.
Okay, thank you so much for your answers. And looking forward to see you on the certification hackathon with
Sure.
our community. So yeah, wish you a lot of success with this project because I guess it's really important to build trust, trust of users to AI technology as it is. So thank you for your speech for today. And guys, we will meet in few hours on this like live tutorial with our developers. So we will see you in 3 hours in this channel. So talk to you later. Bye bye.
Thanks, Alessia. Bye bye.